mean, it's tough. It's every coach's frustration when you have to use challenges on out of bounds plays. I mean, it is what it is. But for teams to win 3 challenges in the first half, I don't know that I've ever seen that either. It's tough. But at the same time, for us, it started with our energy and on the defensive end of the floor. We were flat to start. We dug ourselves a hole. We didn't take care of the ball. We didn't handle their physicality. I mean, that's going to be the MO against us all year long. Teams are going to be physical. They're gonna push us. They're gonna shove us.
What's good, basketball fans? Welcome back to the channel. Last night, the Indiana Fever dropped a heartbreaking 91-90 nail-biter to the Atlanta Dream. But let me tell you, the real story wasn't the 1-point loss. It was the blatantly biased officiating that had Fever head coach Stephanie White absolutely fuming. We're diving into the ref's disastrous performance, Caitlin Clark's historic night, and why this game exposes a serious problem in the WNBA. Buckle up and let's get into it. This game was a roller coaster. The Fever started flat, struggling defensively, and turning the ball over against Atlanta's physicality. Coach White said it best. Teams are going to push and shove Indiana all season long. But despite digging themselves a hole, the Fever fought back, led by none other than Caitlin Clark, who was dropping dimes and draining shots like she's got a basketball cheat code. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark for a second. She went off for 27 points, 11 assists, and 5 steals. Oh, and by the way, she's now the WNBA's all-time leader in 25-point, 10-assist games after just 42 games. For context, legends like Courtney Vandersloot and Diana Taurasi needed hundreds of games to get close.
There has to be some kind of better replay system or some kind of better review system where the referees can just go look at the screen whenever they want and get the call right, because she had to use both of her challenges in the first half on plays that seemed pretty obvious, and instead of the referees going to say, we're going to go look at this, Stephanie White had to use her challenge. She used them both. She was successful in both, but you only get 2. If you win the first one, then you get a second one, otherwise you get no more. So by the third quarter, when there were still more calls that she could have and should have probably questioned, she couldn't.
Close. Clark's vision, supernatural. Her consistency, mind-blowing. She's rewriting the record books while carrying this Fever team. But here's where things get ugly. The officiating in this game was an absolute disaster. Coach Stephanie White had to burn all 3 of her challenges to fix blatant referee mistakes, and she won. Clark gets called for a phantom foul on a clean contest. Replay shows 0 contact. White challenges, call overturned. Aaliyah Boston gets hit with a blocking foul despite being set for a textbook charge. White challenges again, and yep, overturned. Force late in the game. Clark drives to the basket, gets clotheslined, and the refs call an offensive foul on her. The crowd's booing, White's about to lose it, she challenges, and guess what? Overturned again.
I will
3
stand by
challenges.
this is the worst referee game I've ever watched. And there were some horrendous calls both ways. Absolutely horrendous calls. The majority of horrendous calls went against the Fever.
3 challenges, 3 reversals, all against the Fever. Coincidence? I don't think so. This isn't just human error, it's a pattern. Clark's been targeted all season, eating up 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls. One player, nearly 1/5 of the league's flagrants. The refs are swallowing their whistles, letting defenders get away with reckless physicality, and it's threatening the WNBA's credibility. Coach White was livid but kept it classy. She said, our players deserve better, the fans deserve better, the WNBA deserves better.
And the fouls, oh my God, the refs in this game, they were just calling every ticky-tacky foul. The game stoppage was just overwhelming, and there were a lot of fouls that actually did happen. There were a lot of fouls I saw that happened that weren't called, but the ticky-tack fouls, this was extra. Connor, Caitlin's boyfriend, even posted at the beginning of the game, he puts the referees on blast, and he says, good to see the W refs in mid-season form. And of course, he deleted it a few minutes
better. And she's right. When a coach has to use every challenge just to fix obvious calls, something's broken. The WNBA's blowing up right now. Ratings are up, arenas are packed, all thanks to stars like Clark. But if the league doesn't fix this officiating mess, they're risking it all. Despite the refs, the Fever showed heart. Clark's back-to-back 3s in the 4th sparked a comeback. Her chemistry with Aaliyah Boston is becoming straight-up lethal. Those 2 are building a championship duo, and that final play? White made a bold call, using Clark as the inbounder to outsmart Atlanta's defense. It almost worked, but Natasha Cloud's open look didn't fall. White's trust in her team and her willingness to flip the script, that's next-level coaching. This loss stings, but it's a learning moment for the Fever. They proved they can hang with anyone, even with the refs against them. Clark's a generational talent, Boston's a force inside, and White's a master strategist. This team's got championship potential.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I just felt like they were trying to punish the Fever for the other night. You know, the referees were horrible tonight. Really poor officiating.
Championship potential. But the WNBA, they need to step up. Better replay systems, accountability for refs, and protection for stars like Clark. The spotlight's on them now, and the fans won't let this slide. The officiating wasn't just bad, it was a masterclass in how to undermine a basketball game. Coach Stephanie White had to burn all 3 of her challenges to fix calls that were so blatantly wrong. It's hard to believe these refs are professionals, and she won every single challenge. Let that sink in. 3 major calls, all against the Fever, all overturned. This wasn't a one-off mistake. It's part of
My God, the officiating was on full display tonight. It was terrible. Ken Swift, all the national TV exposure, you would think they would want some good officiating to keep the people engaged. This is horrific. It was god-awful. Connor McCaffrey, Caitlin Clark's boyfriend. Good to see the W refs in mid-season form. He cremated them. Good for him. Jason Whitlock. This officiating crew is horrible. Dream, Fever. It was awful. It was terrible. Oh, the refs are hilarious tonight.
It's part of a disturbing pattern that's plaguing the WNBA, and it's threatening the league's credibility at a time when it's finally breaking through to mainstream audiences. Let's break down these calls to show you just how egregious this was. Caitlin Clark gets whistled for a foul while perfectly contesting a shot. Slow motion replay, 0 contact. It's a phantom call that never should have been made. White challenges and the call's overturned. 1 challenge gone. Aaliyah Boston plants herself for a textbook charge. Set for nearly 2 full seconds. Somehow the refs call a blocking foul on her. It's the kind of call that makes you question if the refs even know the rulebook. White challenges again, and yep, overturned. That's 2 challenges burned on obvious mistakes. Clark drives to the basket and gets smacked. We're talking a near clothesline that should have been a flagrant foul. Instead, the refs call an offensive foul on Clark. The crowd's losing it.
Just going into that last possession, just what did you like about the play with Natasha and just her look?
Yeah, I mean,
Crowd's losing.
initially...
White's about to combust on the sideline, and she uses her final challenge. Surprise, surprise, the call's overturned. 3 for 3. This isn't just about one game. It's about a systemic issue. Caitlin Clark's been targeted all season, taking 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls. One player, nearly a fifth of the league's total. That's not a coincidence. It's a red flag. Defenders are getting away with physical play that borders on reckless, and the refs are either missing it or choosing not to call it. Meanwhile, Clark's out there dropping dimes and draining threes, carrying the Fever while dodging cheap shots.
For the league being like, yeah, we know we're going to be ref bad. Yeah, we know we're going to be ref badly. We are, and also now, for the players, we can't expect calls. We can't, if you go to your players, we can't expect calls. We can't expect the refs to give anything. And I gotta say this is a much better response than something that Christy Sides would do. And again, look, I don't know if the Fever have any intricate offenses or anything under Stephanie White. But one thing you know is that as a game manipulator, for lack of a better word, Stephanie White is better. Like, let's be real.
Cheap
let's
shots.
be real.
And it's not just Clark. The Fever as a team are getting hit with phantom calls and missed fouls that disrupt their flow and kill their momentum. When a coach has to use every challenge just to get the game called fairly, something's fundamentally broken. The fans are fed up and they're not staying quiet. Caitlin Clark's boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, even called out the refs on X, saying, "Good to see the W refs in mid-season form," before deleting the post. National voices like Jason Whitlock chimed in, calling the officiating horrible and god-awful. And Fever teammate Brianna Turner warned that these refereeing issues could hurt the entire WNBA product in 2025. When players, fans, and analysts are all sounding the alarm, you know it's a problem. Here's why this matters. The WNBA is having a moment right now. Ratings are soaring, arenas are selling out, and social media's buzzing, largely because of stars like Caitlin Clark. She's not just a player. She's a phenomenon driving unprecedented growth. But if the league keeps letting refs make calls that look biased or incompetent, they're risking it all. Fans don't want to watch games decided by bad whistles. They want to see Clark's unreal vision.
Let's be real.
Boston.
It's one of the craziest stats I've seen yet, and I feel like we say this all the time. Like, wow, this is one of the craziest Caitlin Clark-related stats that I've seen. Evergreen. She has played 42 games. She now has the most 25-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history. 42 games, most 25 and 10 games in WNBA history. She is tied for the most 20 and 10 games in WNBA history. Courtney Vandersloot has 10. Diana Taurasi had 9. Sloot has played 430 games. Taurasi played 565 games. Again, Caitlin Clark has played 42 games. That is unbelievable.
Pretty choppy with
Boston's dominance in the paint and the Fever's fight to compete with the best. Substandard officiating doesn't just rob Indiana of a fair shot. It robs us of the game we love. And let's talk about the flow of the game. These challenges took forever, 2-3 minutes of standing around for calls that should have been obvious. Clark herself said it kills the pace and ruins the vibe. The WNBA needs a better system. Maybe let refs check the monitor without forcing coaches to burn challenges on no-brainer calls. Other leagues like the NBA have streamlined reviews. Why can't the WNBA? And while we're at it, there needs to be accountability. Refs who consistently blow calls.
The amount of fouls, the challenges, just how did that affect you as a point guard and just the team's pace as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, to me, challenges cannot take that long. That's it ruins the flow of the game. I get it, it's early in the year, the refs want to make the right call. We can't sit there for 2.5, 3 minutes and on an obvious hit out of bounds off of them and still not know the call. I get it, there's things to look at, there's the clock, there's where is the ball going to be taken out. But that's not the only reason the flow of the game was ruined, but like we're just standing there, we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting.
Low calls like this should face consequences, not just a shrug from the league office. Player safety, especially for stars like Clark who are getting hammered, has to be a priority. The WNBA's at a crossroads. They can fix this. Better training, clearer rules, faster reviews, and a commitment to protecting their stars. Or they can let these issues fester and watch the momentum slip away. The spotlight's on the league now, and with fans, players, and coaches like Stephanie White demanding better, the pressure's on. This Fever loss might have been a 1-point heartbreaker, but it's also a wake-up call. The WNBA deserves better, and so do we. Let's break down these calls so you can feel the frustration. First up early in the second quarter, Caitlin Clark's defending a dream shooter. Clean textbook contest, arms straight up. The ref blows the whistle for a foul. 0 contact. It's the kind of call that makes you yell at your TV. Are you serious? White throws the challenge flag. The refs check the monitor and boom, call overturned. But that's one of only 2 challenges gone, and it's not even halftime. Fast forward to Theve's system, the third quarter. Aaliyah Boston plants herself in the paint, set for a charge. Textbook defense, feet planted for nearly 2 seconds. The dream player barrels into her, and somehow the refs call a blocking foul on Boston. The crowd's going wild, White's fuming, and she has to burn another challenge. Replay shows it's a clear charge, and the call's flipped. That's 2 challenges down, and both...
Start with some positive news. So Caitlin Clark last night went off for 27 points and 11 assists. And in her sophomore season, Clark now has the most 25-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history. She has only played in 42 games in her entire WNBA career, and she already has the record for this.
And both were no-brainers. Then, the gut punch. Late in the game, with the Fever down by 2 and under 4 minutes left, Clark drives to the basket and gets smacked. A forearm to the neck that's practically a wrestling move. Flagrant foul? Nope. The refs call an offensive foul on Clark. The arena erupts in boos. White looks like she's about to storm the court, and she uses her final challenge. The replay shows the obvious truth. Clear defensive foul, overturned. 3 challenges, 3 reversals, all against the Fever. And let's talk about the game flow, or lack thereof. These challenge reviews took forever. 2-3 minutes of dead air for calls that should have been obvious. Clark herself said it best. Challenges can't take that long. It ruins the flow of the game. She's right. Fans are stuck watching players stand around while refs stare at a screen, only to fix calls they shouldn't have missed in the first place. And here's the kicker. White ran out of challenges by the fourth quarter. What happens if there's a 4th bad call or a 5th? The Fever get no recourse, and the game's outcome gets hijacked by referee incompetence. The WNBA's at a crossroads. With Clark, Boston, and coaches like Stephanie White leading the charge, this league could dominate sports culture. But if they keep letting refs undermine the product, they're risking everything. White stayed classy in her post-game presser, saying, "I'm not going to blame the refs for our loss," but added, "Our players deserve better. The fans deserve better. The WNBA deserves better." She's spot on. This league's too good to let bad officiating hold it back. What do you think? Are the refs ruining the WNBA? Or is this just part of the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're fed up with bad calls, and subscribe for more WNBA breakdowns. Let's keep the pressure on for better basketball. See you in the next one.